Hello, Patreon, and welcome to the post-series chat for Dumb Scum and Villainy. So again, we'll be coming back as an event show. So like when we have adventures, we'll just do compact complete events. But this is the end of the weekly ongoing journey. So there is stuff to talk about briefly. We did do a lot of episodes. I'm going to put a rule on this that this has to be brief. We cannot do a 5-hour. Even 1 hour will hurt me. So we'll go by my bladder. About a half hour. But Tom, how do you feel? This is the first time you've had to wrap up a big old business.
I feel great. This one always had an endpoint on it for kind of where I wanted the story to go. You don't introduce a cursed Sith artifact and then not know how that doesn't become the thing that takes over the Star Wars galaxy. And while it took some turns I wasn't expecting, obviously.
We all know that you were thinking of Palpatron from day one. That was always what was expected.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I have this sealed envelope here. And if I open it, it says not that at all. But incidentally, when we got to Serpentos' kind of mind palace where he like snuffed Waka, I was like, oh shit, we can really jump the dial on a few of these plot lines because I'd always intended more Waka initiative shit. And it was just a perfect way to kind of introduce that and kind of play out the final beats I had for that. And I was like, oh, honestly, this kind of feels like it's coming to a point. And ultimately, this was the story of like Palpatine's lightsaber and dealing with Agrippa. And that was always as much as, that's the arc for this run. So I'm very happy. I think we got some really satisfying, surprising conclusions to a lot of those. And I feel good. How are you guys feeling? You all played it.
Oh, it was so much fun. I was able to play 4 characters very, very well.
In rapid succession.
I think your best character, the chef.
Oh, 100%.
Second best, two cups. And then the other 2, who cares?
Distant third. Distant third, yeah.
As they always say, if you win third, no one cares. So Let's focus on your best work.
Yeah. No, it was so much fun. I liked being able to give him the chance to do kind of 2 characters that were kind of polar opposites, and Waka was like, an innocent space punisher, and then Serpentos kind of turned into like a idiot
Megatron?
Doctor Doom, like
a Cobra Commander, which is kind of the midpoint of all of those. Like very angry, not a lot of skills.
But a lot of power, and people trust him for some reason.
Yeah.
So very
well.
very fun.
And I must say, like from my side, the Serpentos twist was such a fun thing to fuck with as a DM because it meant that, like, obviously I've never intended for like a full party PvP fight. It was always going to be like you guys versus Agrippa. But the fact that Serpentos was kind of acting against everyone meant we got to do some really interesting things with the NPC, because by that point we had a whole crew. So getting to actually like deal with the ramifications of someone being like, do you hate what you've been asked to do so far in this game? And the NPCs given a legitimate chance to be like, actually, yeah, kinda. We're on your team now. Or fuck no, we'll blow you up as soon as you leave the ship was super fun. So thank you for that. That was a real fun.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Thing to get to play. And Guy, you came late to the party. How the fuck was this for you?
Oh, it was a lot of fun jumping in, getting to play a robot. Always wanted to play a little stinky C-3PO droid. Yeah, I can die happy. And who knows? Probably will sooner than later. No, I was very happy, Lodza, and it was good to have different characters to play against. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Good, you'll have to.
Yeah,
You are.
Yeah, take that walk-in initiative at some point. And Tyler and Ryan, you guys played the same character the whole way through.
Should have given him an alter ego. That's the thing, you don't always realize how broad the sandbox can be, and then you learn stuff from everybody you play with, which is a lot of fun. No, it was a ton of fun. I had a really good time playing a narcissistic moron. Tyler and I think, played between the two of us, the full spectrum of narcissistic idiot. Which is funny. Like capable but gets in his own way, and like not capable but gets through because of belief.
Yeah.
I would just think it would be funny if it's at this point where one of us is like, no, man, this fucking sucked shit the entire time. I'm done. What the hell? God damn it.
I hated doing this, and I will not come back.
It's just John Boyega now about Star Wars. He's like, oh no, I cashed that check, so fuck all y'all. Also, stop being racist. And I'm like, good man.
All right, so why don't we borrow something from our other format? And if we all go around, each of us can say their favorite moment from the other four people. So we avoid narcissism, but we all get to say a nice thing that occurred over the course of the run on the show.
Yeah, I'll go first. For Ryan, a specific moment I would have to say would be the turning to the dark side. I was not expecting a guy who like loves himself so much to depend on this external force, and you did it in a way that was really interesting, but also led to some like really great funny beats too, of just like negotiating with the voice in your head about like the P's and Q's of turning to the dark side, being like, okay, so I need an apprentice. Can it just be anybody? Because I've got a guy in mind. There's like, can't be Nick's. It's like, oh, well, all right. And just like, that was really funny and fun. And like a big character moment for Brash, because he was just sort of felt like a manager with unruly staff. Didn't have like the highest power to like really make big calls and stuff like that. He kind of he was stuck with this team that he couldn't really make major changes to, and just had to make the best of a situation. Because between the two of us being narcissistic morons, you were like the brains of the operation, by and large. And so it was really fun to see like all of a sudden that character get this massive infusion of power and start like making real big choices about like, you're on my side, you're gonna die. That kind of stuff was really fun and funny. Adam, I think for me, my favorite moments were in a tight cluster of just you bartering with Tom about what you could and couldn't do just within the realm of reality. And for me specifically, I'm thinking of rescuing the hackers, just going on about like, okay, well, we're going to load this golf cart up with dead bodies and then we're going to blow it up and it's going to be a great distraction. And just Tom having to like, and Tom being game and being like, all right, well, let's math out what exactly that looks like. And you just having more and more asks and just building up this great fucking scene.
That's how I play.
You push the envelope in ways that like Ryan and I think were either too scared or just not even aware that we could push it in. And so we wouldn't have had like any of this ridiculousness without you testing the boundaries of like Tom's world and just the rule book in general. So yeah. So that specific moment comes to mind, but that's just like on a theme of like Adam pokes at the system and sees what he can get out of it. Was always like, it was always a super fun thing to watch. Guy, for me, I did not know what bringing you into the game sort of mid-game as a ongoing player would be like, because up until this point, with like Dum Dums and Dragons, you've had this great thing of like, I'm just going to jump in and drop this ridiculousness and then I'm gone, bye. But now the moments where you had to reckon with your own insanity of like, oh yeah, you spun the narrative of like, yeah, I created Waka Waka Fonzie and I had a whole super soldier program and then I had assassins go after him. And then he came back as this amnesiac killing machine. Which might normally be the point at which Guy Bradford's like, well, okay, I'm done here, bye guys. But no, Tom is like, okay, no, let's look at that and let's explore that. And you having to basically reckon with a lot of these wild choices that your character made were a lot of fun. Stuff like stealing an axe from I can't remember what they're called, the pig Gamorreans and stuff like that. Like that's not just like a fun little thing. Like that guy tried to kill us and you robbing a bank and stuff like that. Like led us on a whole merry chase.
I think what you're trying to say is that I'm a stable genius.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you very much.
That's what I'm trying to say is all my favorite moments were how you handled basically just like the consequences of your your big decisions. They were also really, really fun because you just added more on top.
No,
You did a great job with that.
no.
And Tom just managing this whole wild ride. For specific moments, I would have to give it up for the the wildly threatening Imperial characters who you allowed us to just be like, well, they're horny now, so they're they're just like clay in our hands, or like dropping in Mara Jade as like an Imperial operative, but also being like, here's an interesting way that she becomes part of the team. Just the way you do this great kind of flexibility of like, here's an opposing force. Okay, you've done stuff that makes them kind of like you now, so they're still in opposition to you, but I don't know, they kind of think you're funny. Was a lot of fun and like really interesting. And you did it a couple times where like even me with my bullshit was being like, I'm Renegade, I'm the leader of the hackers, and you being like, okay, leader of the hackers, well, these are our demands, and then making me kind of back up my own words and stuff like that. Was a lot of fun. So there's you did a great job of making sort of like very accommodating villains who still had like these boundaries by and large, but who were basically like open to like playing with all of our characters and stuff like that. Because I feel like as a dungeon master or a game master, it can be really tempting to be like, this guy's like a no-nonsense, super gruff character, and then someone comes in and pulls down his pants and is like, well, he shoots you in the head because this is ridiculous. But instead you're like, oh man, no, it's my Tuesday underwear and it's Thursday. They know I don't do laundry. Like you do all these great things.
Thanks, buddy.
So I really like that you were up for playing with us. Because there was like a general like tonal shift from the start of the campaign to the end of the campaign. And you took that tonal shift in stride and really made the most of it, which was
Thanks,
great.
man.
Made it a lot of fun.
All right, if I'm going to go next, Tyler, man, that whole first Renegade adventure, just voluntarily letting yourself get kidnapped, buying into that plan, your negotiations. Basically, anytime you had a negotiator as Renegade, but holy shit, that first bit with the computers where it would just cut to you lying, getting immediately caught for lying, and then lying more poorly as the response, which I think is just a delightful comedy bit. And then it became kind of a runner, which was fun. But that and the competition with Rick, like just the amount of sheer fury that you decided he had whenever someone seemed to impinge on his identity. Like he didn't actually care if people thought he sucked at stuff because he was so bulletproof. But if they thought they were him or could take credit from him, it was like to the death, which is so funny. It's like an interesting twist on that archetype, which was really, really fun to watch.
He was really thin-skinned in a lot of very specific ways.
Yeah. Tom, again, being able to bounce back and forth on tone and keep stakes in a show like this is really, really tricky. And I think I'd heard the show summed up by like Tyler and by other people as like, it's Vic versus Brash, and then it's it's Adam and Guy versus Tom as the GM. It's just like these two characters go to war and these two people are actively fighting the game. And being able to like keep any kind of ongoing narrative flow, and they're like, we turn into Voltron, I'm the villain now, and then I'm like, I don't know, we shoot the guy we're after, and then it's like, we're Sith, fuck you, just we're Sith now, read the rules on the fly. Like no matter what we did, you managed to like keep it going between breaks, and then just refusing to not choose when your brain is melting. And I think this shows like a testament to just to you and to madness. This is just for all of us. Just like people make weird choices. The show, which is delightful. Guy, it was super fun having you kind of jump in, and you did something that I don't think any of us expected when Tom like gave you an elaborate backstory, and you were like, "Cool, hi, I'm this guy," and just dropped all the backstory. We're like, "Cool, let's keep moving." Like it was just. Delightful as a character trope, which is like he has no secrets. He says everything he thinks.
Yeah.
And you had a really fun challenge that you kind of got between the character you were playing over Tom Cam, which is like you're a character who didn't give a shit about anyone, and you were a sociopath. And to play both of those things together makes it really hard to like play a character who's supposed to be part of a team or trying to achieve any goal the character did not already care about. And I think you handled that really beautifully, where it like allowed for moments of insanity and moments of working against the group, but you also found ways to get on board as a player that it was like, it worked. It all made sense. And I was like, guy is doing a lot of work in his head to figure out how this character would give a single fuck about what we're doing right now. Like,
Painted in a corner, the game.
honestly, yes, for all of us at all times. But no, it was a blast. I think it was really, really fun. And it was great to play with you. And Adam, one of my favorite things to watch you do is have someone, and by someone, it's just Tom, but have Tom go like, all right, so you're here. All the choices you've made have come to here. You can do A or B. And you're like, let me walk you through the rest of the alphabet. Like, it was just like, not only was A and B not a choice for you at all, it would be like C leads to D, but also E. And in the past, I've decided I've done F and G. So what if H? And I just watch his brain melt. But everything he came up with was so goddamn funny. And a lot of it was so true to character and world that it was like, yes, no one can actually present options on what Waka Waka Fonzie or Serpentos will do next. They are whirling dervishes of Adam's madness. And when he gives you the answer is true. It is the thing they say about endings in novels, where it needs to be surprising yet inevitable. And I feel like everything your characters did was surprising yet inevitable. And that was why Tom would agree, essentially. Because if you'd just been crazy, I don't think it would have worked, or it would have been changed. And instead it became these like moments of like pure whim. Only it wasn't Adam doing that. It was like, I'm this character who definitely would do this third thing. And then Transformers. I mean, Transformers would just appear somewhere in that, and that's unrelated, 100%. But necessary.
Oh, yeah. That's my life in general. Just Transformers appear, and they're necessary. So.
Yeah, I would say Adam is like really good at being like having that innocence young boy POV and the glee that comes with that, with any character that he plays. So it's always really fun because whatever he comes up with off the top of his head is just like, it knocks me down just with how like ridiculous it would be, but the sincerity he plays it with, like a kid in a sandbox together. So that's being able to have like a relationship with a childlike relationship with your character is very dumb, and then have the evil reflection of that, who's also plays with that childlike earnestness, but like, now I'm the bad guy. You know? It's always super fun. Tyler is you are just pure earnestness and there is this everyman quality to you, not just to what you say, but how you say it. And that bleeds into your character's cowardness, your character's no, I'll just stick with cowardice. Your character was was a pure coward, and how that informs everything he does. But also very eloquent with how you package all of that, how you condense that, and the dialogue you come up with too is very like. There's many times where there's like a long silence before you say something, and every time it's all very well earned, and what you say is just beautiful.
Oh, thanks, man.
As for hold on, let me think. What was Brash, Ryan? Your character, a lot of your characters have pure sex to them just based on the sultry tones of your voice. So I'm always astounded by how capable you are, not only with playing characters, but also keeping the tone in place, in check, and being able to coordinate almost psionically with Tom to make sure that we're all playing on, level. But also that you're all able to bring so much whimsy and fun to it. And again, how you and Tom are really good orators. Like, I think if you weren't playing, doing podcasts or whatever, you would be a politician. But a good one.
Let's keep playing board games then.
Everybody vote for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You've decided to buy a pipeline. What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think you and Tom share a brain in many ways. Just how you're able to do calculus and also come up with a haiku at the same time. You're working both lobes of the brain. So that bleeds right into you, Tom. Again, you're the master of rules, dynamically integrating those rules into a way that keeps the story cohesive, yet makes it still seem like we're working with pure lunacy. Like you keep all of that very contained. You're always working with a witch's brew, and the concoction you serve is delicious in the end.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know how you do it. Also, again, you make words sound good. So
Aw,
you,
shucks,
you
buddy,
make pretty
thanks.
sentences. So I don't know.
It's
Lovely
from whisking
people.
spaghetti. That's how I keep the witch's brew.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. Tom, like, first of all, an apology. Just for,
That's
you
the
know,
nicest thing you could say to Tom.
yeah, like just, like I sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it. I'll just like in my head, I'd be like, well, I want this to happen, and then that'll happen. But so just a flat out apology. I started running my own D&D games, and I can just say there's like a whole other level of respect just for like what you have to deal with, and just how you need to just make up stuff on the fly, and especially when you got like everybody just like throwing just insane things at you, and how you have to kind of fit that into the narrative. More for like a character. I loved the reveal was he was Steve Palpatron.
Steve Palpatine. Yeah. Yeah, his actual name,
yeah.
like Palpatine's real name is Sheev, which is very dumb.
That's so
Right.
embarrassing.
But
for him.
then fucking Rise of Skywalker was like, oh, he had a bunch of clone kids, because it turns out he didn't fuck anyone. So good news. He's like, they tried a bunch of clones. And I was like, okay, you stupid movie, thanks. That's the detail I need to close out my show. So yeah, Steve Palpatine, which I've been sitting on for a long time.
Yeah, just the playing of that, and how it started out sinister, and then just kind of, you could almost picture that within the little crystal in there. It's kind of like this rundown basement apartment, and he's just making like drinking old coffee and in like a robe, and just like, oh hey guys, hi, what's going on? And like just that kind of, I don't know, he kind of turned into a dude at the end. It's like, hey bro, like what if you do this,
Yeah, I wasn't into this either, but I guess it's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, shots, anybody shot?
I've got some Jägermeister in the freezer.
Like, yeah, like exactly. And Tyler, I liked, like, I guess it could be easy to call your character like an idiot, but it's just the honesty of the person, and just how he thinks he thinks the world is a certain way, and that any kind of other thing that tries to burst that bubble is just like, well, that can't be. Like, of course this planet existed and blow up. It's like, no, well, why else would they be bowling? They like bowling. They're not captured. Like, what are you talking about? Also, just like, again, I know other people mentioned this, but the whole renegade persona, I just think is just funny. Like funny because it's funny, but also funny in that you have this person who, it's almost, how did he come up with this? It's almost like a little secret thrill. Like, he wouldn't normally talk to people about this, but like when given the chance, he's like, oh, like I can be this person now. It's like, oh, well, do you have a persona? It's like, oh, well, I don't know, renegade. And then like, you're ready. Like you've always had this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that was super fun. Ryan, I liked your transition into evil Sith. I also loved how, just for the majority of it, it's kind of like Mo dealing with a bunch of Larrys. It's not even Curly. It's just like, it's that kind of level. Like he smacks around Curly, but then Larry be like, hey, and then you'd have to smack him too, kind of thing. Like I just feel that. Yeah, I don't know. I also thought it was kind of touching, just that you built like a natural relationship with the Nyx character, and it wasn't just kind of like let's fuck. It was like your character actually like started to care for Nyx, and then when he got blowed up, that actually kind of like was the twist you needed to go like full bad guy, or like full Sith or whatever.
You gave me a beautiful end of Act 2 of his journey, which
Yes.
is like, and there's the critical lowest point.
Right. It's like when you gotta lose someone to go Super Saiyan. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right? Like he wouldn't
I
have
know
gotten
from you having described it on multiple of our shows. I only know about Dragon Ball Z because of you and Tom and Guy doing riffs. I've never seen the show.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. Oh, I love it. 9,000. And Guy, I liked, yeah, again, for coming in like halfway, like you just like knocked it out of the park. And I liked the strange father kind of like uncle vibe that you had with Waka, and just going along with the weird stuff like that anybody threw at you, and like combining into like our Voltron Rush Mega Man super armor kind of
Oh yeah.
kind of deal, which and yeah, there's also an innocence to you where especially like what was the one thing where the big monster was carrying me away and your instinct was to be like, okay, big guy, I think you can get out of the situation if you put your mind to it. And it's like, shoot him, shoot the monster. But your go-to was more like, I'm gonna try to inspire my son kind of deal. But yeah, no, I thought it was kind of sweet.
It was very like drunk uncle who lives in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool because he teaches you how to swear, but like also problems.
So basically, Cody from Step by Step. Hey, dudes.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm going to echo what other people said. Renegade was such a delightful surprise, and the viciousness with which you clung to that persona. Like, basically, anytime characters give something that they desperately care about, and the DM can play with it, is fun. And yeah, just deciding that you cared the most about being Renegade. Like, there was no Rick Dunbar until that, and I was like, oh fuck, thank you for this present. This is delicious. Let's play. So no, that was great. And also just like the it's a hard balance to strike when your character is incredulous, and the fact that you were able to somehow live in your own reality while inhabiting everyone else's is a real delicate balance, and I think you struck it perfectly. Which is just like Vic's world is different from our world, but you still found a way to play within it. You didn't just stop anytime someone was like, what about this? And you're like, nah. It was nah, but then also, yes, I'll still go along and do it, which was spectacular. Yeah, Guy, the accent was a fucking delightful choice. And just deciding to go full Fargo was... But, yeah, what got me was just deciding, like, no, he's my son and I'm going to help him. And then leading to the dads... Everyone's someone's dad thing was such a fucking fun runner. But just literally being like, I'm a psychopath robot, but I really care about this one person and I will do anything for them. It's such a sympathetic place to live. It was like if Dr. Frankenstein actually cared about his monster. And the fact that you were just immediately like, oh, cool, fella, I'll just take his eyes. Don't worry about it. Like, delightful. Super, super fun. And such a kind of like heartwarming spin on a killer robot. Adam, fucking the golf cart, man. I use that as an example when I tell people about this show. It's so funny. And I think other people have touched on it, but the idea of secret plans being like your defining character beat was so good because both of them had it. And they were always so fun and so wild. But you were also doing exactly what I think RPGs are built for, which is track all of the things you have at hand and then remix them in an interesting way. So I know I have Kano skin. What can I do with that? Well, if I had a bunch of grenades, I could turn them into a bomb. I mean, you did say you had his skin, so yes, you can do that. And that's the kind of shit that I think the rules don't really account for, but also video games don't account for. It's just like, this is why you play an RPG. It's the one place in the world where you can just say that and it's true. Every time you've looked at an inventory screen and gone, oh man, Monkey Island told me if I combine these weird prosthetic limbs, I can make a weird slingshot that'll get me into this bank. In these games, you can just do that, which is super, super fun. Also, the Serpentos twist was delightful. Hearing his voice for the first time, I was like, oh, this is a character now. This isn't just a thing. And then when you drowned Waka, I was like, fuck, this is rad as hell. There's so many places we can go with this. And then all the scheming that followed, everything else was just amazing. Loved it.
Thanks.
And thank you for the apology. It's not needed, but it's very sweet. Ryan, watching, I love a good slide into darkness, and I feel like Star Wars is actually pretty bad at these. In the mainstream films, they're fantastic in the expanded universe shit. But watching Brash just get consistently disappointed, also having him be incredibly high status, but also kind of essentially from like a small town, was super fun. So just kind of like, oh yeah, this is how the outside world works. I understand how to be a gangster. And then the world just continually kicking you in the dick until finally you're like, you know what, fuck it, sure, great, force lighting. Okay. This is what you've made me. I've tried charm, I've tried elegance, I've tried grace. You don't want it, here's a sledgehammer. It was super fun. On a personal note, the Darth names were so fucking dumb and fun. Bravo, all. And yeah, just like how you interacted with Palpatine. Obviously, I had a blast playing Palpatine, Steve Palpatine. Yeah, just like the negotiations and the like, just Brash constantly trying to decide whether or not he gave a shit about the rest of the party was super fun. Yeah, and the Nick's relationship was very sweet, and it was very sad to see him go, but also like proper villain thing to just be like, well, I can't kill all of you, but I can kill the one of you that you all like. Bananas. This was a blast, guys. This was super, super fun. So
Yay!
making fun choices. And I look forward to what I've redubbed mentally the Walk Apocalypse, which is our next adventure. So it won't be for a while, but it's going to be pretty great. And we'll talk about where all the characters are and what you're up to at the beginning of that. But we can talk in the interim and kind of figure out how you get there. But
Yeah.
it's been great. Thanks for playing in our dumb Star Wars universe.
Wash
All
those
right.
asses.
Wash your ass, everyone.